G'day guys, Jason Ninch for part 2 of our osteitis pubis treatment. So this is the exercise component. So the first thing we want to focus on is building some global strength. So a lot of the time with OP is you've got a lot of tightness and pulling through the front side of the pelvis here. So you want to work on strengthening the back side and also strengthening the adductors. So we're going to start with hip hinging and deadlifting and then squatting as well. So you want to load the adductors, load this groin in a nice healthy way, but also build some strength through the glutes and hamstrings. So that's why we want to add the hip hinge in. And then we've got a single leg or split stance version as well to target the glutes, all right? So we want to start to offload the front side of the body with our treatment and start to strengthen the posterior chain and those deep adductor muscles, all right? So let's get Ninj side on. So into a hip hinge position here. So feet hip width apart, just hands on your quads there, Ninj. And then what we want to focus on is pushing our bum back as we're diving over and loading in. So come to the side here, Leo, so we can see Ninj's really loading back here into his glutes. And then on the way up, Ninj, push through the floor, squeeze your glutes. All right, so this is just learning the patterning of a deadlift. So you want to really drive your bum back and dive forward. So we're really shifting into our glutes. Show us what not to do with a deadlift, Ninj, where we do more of a squat pattern as well.
Well, there's a few
so you sort of
things.
squat, yeah. So we don't want you squatting down and getting your bum too low because that's going to load our quads even more, all right? So we want to make sure that we're doing nice hip hinging patterning, all right? So it's bum back, dive over, and then squeeze back up, all right? So nice and controlled, we're loading into the glute, into the hamstring, all right? So once we've learnt the patterning, we're going to move over, progress onto the barbell, all right? So come over here, Ninj, and what I like to do is your feet touch the bar, or shins touch the bar, and then going through that same movement pattern. So start your hands on your quads, dive over. So you're constantly reiterating that good pattern. If you just go down and start to pick it up and then reset, you don't have all those correct muscles engaged. So from here, we're going to engage with the bar. So we pick up the slack, engage our mid-back, and then we push through the floor, squeezing our glutes, all right? And then the way down, we want to be slow and controlled. We push the bum back, slowly glide the bar down, and then touch lightly on the floor. Once you're ready again, stay engaged, squeeze back up, all right? So we're really focusing on squeezing those glutes at the top, drive over. As we're slowly controlling down, we're eccentrically strengthening those hamstrings as well, all right? So we're pushing through the floor, really starting to build the power back in our body. As with OP, you start to lose that explosive power and that strength around your hips and your groins, all right? So this is the key. If you're focusing on adductor squeezes and really targeted adductors and banded glute exercises, you need to focus on these compound lifts first, all right? So get your hip hinge going right, build your deadlift nice and slow, start off light, get the patterning and the load in the correct areas, and then slowly build it up, all right? So keep it low rep ranges, 3 to 5 reps, 4 to 5 sets, and then build it up as you get stronger and you get more confident with that movement. All right?
How often per week, man?
Once a week.
Once a week?
Once a week. So you don't need to do 3-4 times a week or anything like that. Once a week when you're building up, especially when you're getting into heavier loads and that sort of thing, you only need to load the body once a week, get that pure strength and give the body time to recover and then go again the next week, all right? So that some people get in the mindset of, oh, I need to do it a couple of times to really fast track it. But if you start to overload your body too much, again, the other way, then you start to build back into that fatigue. If your body's not strong enough in these areas, you'll start to compensate and might start to over-recruit other muscles that are already tight. So that's why we're doing it once a week as well, so we can target the right areas, build the body in the right way, and then we can progress as a steady process. All right, our next exercise is a front squat with a ball, all right? So we're gonna move over here, Ninj.
Yep.
You can grab onto the 15-kilo ball there.
Oh, I don't know if I can pick that up.
All right, so we're just gonna hug it into your chest. I might have to steal your mic just so you don't rattle around too much. All right, so he's gonna hug it into his chest. With our squat, we wanna go nice and wide. So maybe turn so you're front on with the camera there, Ninj.
Outside shoulder width?
Yep, outside shoulder width and slightly turn the feet out. So this way we're just opening, as we're squatting down, our knees are gonna track out over our second and third toe. All right, and we're looking to get into this nice deep squat. And then we're standing up, driving out of there. If you turn side on again, so we wanna make sure, first of all, Ninja's pushing his bum backwards a little bit at the start and then squatting down. So we're loading again, more into the glutes, more into the hamstrings, but that wide stance, you're getting into this adductor magnus, all right? You're loading the groins, but in a lengthened position, all right? So you're not just contracting, building more strength in a shortened range, you're strengthening them, but also getting length through those attachment points to the pelvis, all right? So we're loading deep into those adductor tendons where they attach onto the pelvis and the pubic bone, all right? So again, quality of movement is key here. Lower rep ranges, again, 3 to 5 reps as you're building up, all right? Don't do too many, because that's when you start to build into fatigue and overcompensate again, and that's when pain can come back. So it's take it slow, build it up, explore those ranges, getting in deep. Even just as you're building up, you can start to do isometric holds down here where you're starting to build that endurance in the groins. So start off with the ball, so you're working on your patterning, and then we're going to progress to a barbell, all right? So let's get into the barbell. The barbell, again, key, don't go too heavy too early. Start off lighter and progress into it, because you want to be doing pure movements. If you're going too heavy too early and you're compensating, your knees are falling in, you're a bit wobbly, all right? So make sure you're nailing your patterning first with lighter weight. Humble yourself. Sometimes you got to put your ego aside when you're in this rehab phase, and then as you're getting stronger, then you can build up the strength as your body's moving more purely. All right, so we're going to show Ninja doing a few reps where he's just going to sort of parallel. So you've got to work with where you're at as well. So if you're starting off and you're a bit tight and you can't go full range, we want to just work where it's a healthy range, and then we can progress. All right, so Ninja's lining up with his nose with the bar. Yep, go under there, Ninja.
I'll talk through it a bit. So yeah, we don't want to be up on our neck. We want to be down our back. I kind of like going down there a bit more, so it's more through your centre. But generally people are in that bit there. You can kind of feel there's a nice...
padded part of the shoulder. So just find that scap bone. So the spine of your scap, you can either be above or below that. All right?
Yeah, so you take your time lifting up, walking back. So yeah, and you get your heels on the line, so you're not 1 foot forward, things like that. You see that a bit. Yeah. So I'm splayed out a bit. So the main thing I think about is diving when I first think. So dive forward. So dive forward to there, and then I'll do a full one, and then you can go down like that. But generally at the start, you want to go to probably about that range there.
That's it. Just where you're comfortable. If you do feel like you've got good range to start with, you can go a bit deeper. But yeah, if you're struggling, just start with getting to here and practicing driving out from there. Again, we really want to use glute, adductors, quads, hamstrings. So we're getting all those big muscle groups going here.
And you really got to engage your core doing this as well. So it's really good for that as well.
Yeah, building that ab strength.
Getting everything involved. So I'll do a deeper one there and up. You just sort of see how my knees just stay really solid. They don't kind of wobble in.
Maybe come around the front here, Leo, if you can. Scoot around. So just show us another good rep there, Ninja. So the knees track out that way.
Yeah, so quite often you'll see people doing this. They'll lift their knee and they'll try and grab some muscle from in there or something. So you can just sort of talk to your knees and say, stay steady.
Be strong.
Strong knees, and then drive up like that. Nice. I'll do one more.
One more, Ninja.
Boom!
Yes, power.
And smash it into the back of the rack.
That's it. Put it back on the rack. That's our key as well.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, build up the strength, low reps, build up the weight, and yeah, good quality reps. Next, we're going to move on to a split stance, functional glute. All right, so a bit more challenging our body, working our glute, but single leg stance. So it can also show if there's a little bit of an imbalance there, or if you're a bit unstable around the hips. That could be why you're having some of these pelvic and pubic bone issues. All right, so let's walk over here.
Yep.
This is called a functional glute. Let's test out Ninja and see how he goes. So whichever arm has the cable in it, that same leg is going to start backwards. All right, so he's going to start in his position where he's going to take off to run. Yeah. So this is almost like that hip hinge movement we went through with the deadlift, but we're just focusing on more a single leg. So he squeezes up, nice and slow, Ninja, nice and slow. So this will be a real life, up, squeeze and hold, get this knee up. So we're working on balance, and then slowly push this bum back, dive over. That's it. He touches this back leg lightly, but most of the weight stays on this front leg. Yeah, come around this side, Leo. Squeeze up. Be strong, be strong, be strong. Wait until you're balanced at the top. If you're a bit wobbly, you can put your knee back down and then start again. That's it. And we're loading into this glute. All right. So this is a really key thing where if you're suffering OP and you're running, playing sport, getting pain, and you're struggling with this exercise, this could be showing where you're lacking stability and strength through the stabilizing muscles in the hip, and that's why your groins might be overworking, all right? So it's a good strengthening exercise, but also a good assessment of how stable you are when you're standing and balancing on one leg. Doing well there, Ninja. It's looking pretty good.
Getting better as I go. Your first couple are a bit shaky normally.
That's it, yeah. And just take it slow. Squeeze, focus on quality again. Don't try and cheat by going fast and getting through it. This one's actually slower is better. Really build that strength and patterning. Have a go on the other side because you want to make sure that you are balanced, or it might be the side that you're not necessarily thinking about that is a bit weaker. Good, Ninja. Slow and controlled. Dive. Oh, man.
Whoa.
Oh, up. That's all right. And the key with these exercises is, making sure that you're not working through pain. Like if you're getting sore as you're doing them, just sort of take note of that and note whether it's good pain because you're using that area, or if it's bad pain and you're sort of pulling up a bit sore, you might need to dial the weight and the reps back just a little bit and then slowly progress forward that way. So yeah, if you're getting anything that's sort of above like a 5 out of 10 while you're doing that exercise and it's sort of pulling up sore, then you probably want to dial back the reps and the load and then slowly build it back up again, all right? If you're sort of under that 5 out of 10, it might just be because you're using those areas and actually strengthening them and targeting them, okay? Anything you want to add there, Ninja?
Yeah, I suppose there's other ways you can do this. You can do it with a band, tie a band around a pole and do the same exercise. And can you do this more than once a week?
This one I could do more than once a week, so you could do this 2 to 3 times even, doing sort of 5 to 10 reps, so probably a bit more reps on this one. And yeah, you can do this a bit more because it's not as much load going through your body. It's probably more of a patterning exercise. Even then, you can do different exercise where you're doing isometrics of this exercise. You can practice standing here, nice and tall at the top position. And if you're struggling, you can even practice standing. Some people struggle to stand in this split stance position. So you can do an isometric hold where you're standing here for 30 seconds. You might do 30 seconds up here just to start to build that strength and stability in those positions, as well as doing the actual reps and the movement, all right? So yeah, there's the exercises to focus on with osteitis pubis. Obviously, once we're getting further down the track, we can start to spread it out and give you more specific stuff, more sport specific, and add in barefoot sprinting, all right? So that's the key. Once we're sort of down the track, past that rehab phase, looking at returning to performance and that sort of thing. So barefoot sprinting is the key once you're sort of through the deadlifts and the squats and you've corrected that imbalance, all right? Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Done!